what triggered this idea that you put into your film? I mean, this comedy very funny because this protagonist, your hero, is suffering an incredible pain, but at the same time, it's very funny to see him suffer the way we see him. So tell me more about this idea and how you probably wrote the script. And okay, so
Yeah, so coming into my like junior year of college when I was in Northwestern University in Qatar, I wanted to we have a grant that they offer at the university called Studio 22, and each semester you can apply, and I really wanted to do that. And so I decided that for so long the university haven't done a comedy. You know, we were so stuck to Arab melodramas and Arab war and social dramas that I really wanted to do something that could be a bit more lighthearted and still yet emphasize a certain emotion that I had in mind, which was this emotion of like chaos, and you know, not living in Egypt but going there every summer. I realized the shift of energy. Each time I go on the streets, each time I'm in a family home, it is extremely chaotic. The sound, the noise, the movement, it's like a crazy dance, if you will. So I wanted to emulate that into the movie, with this protagonist who is trying to find a job, you know, in midst of this chaos. And I also wanted to play around with the generational gap, because I can see that in Egypt that there's this large generational gap between the older and higher class to the middle to low younger class civilians. And this causes, in my opinion, more chaos, more tension. So I wanted to build that up in a short span of time. And yeah, that was kind of the idea.
yeah, it works very well. It worked very well. You're putting this, as a matter of fact, uh, putting back to back these new ways now to interview people, you know, through Zoom or through whatever, but at the same time asking you to be ready in like a very short time, so that you could interview people without wearing anything, without wearing your trousers, or and but at the same time, you know, the parents are not well. The wife's parents are coming, and there is a mess in the whole in the apartment. And as a matter of fact, you did portray very well this chaos. Uh, is this also a way to maybe go into satire, you know, show how maybe how society can be sometimes upside down, because you know you call it chaos, but people are used to it in Morocco, in Egypt. In, you know, the chaos is a way of life. It
Of course it is.
doesn't bother them very much, you know.
Well, yes, exactly. And I think that's the thing, that with these characters, it isn't, they're not really bothered. They're actually in a state of cool and calmness in the beginning, and then later on when it escalates, it becomes kind of hectic. But to the audience it could seem hectic. Even to Egyptian audiences that are used to this chaos, it is still hectic to them. But maybe because they don't realize, you know, the amount of the hecticness that they live in, which is actually beautiful in my opinion. I don't find it bad. Um, I find it beautiful and unique in its own way that our cultures have this, and that we can adapt to that. Because when Westerners watch a movie like this, they would be very overwhelmed and think that this is, you know, a very significant thing. But in reality, this is the truth.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, I can understand why the audience is like tense, because they have feelings for the protagonists, and
Yeah.
they see that the protagonist might lose this opportunity because of what's happening. So yeah, chaos sometimes can be bad for your your interviews anyway. And is this your first short? And then you decided to make a comedy, which is very good, as you said. Moroccan and even Morocco, we have the same. Maybe I call it problem. Going into drama all the time, melodrama all the time it's just not working with the audience anymore. The audience wants comedy. I don't know if in Qatar and Egypt it's the same way, but here in Morocco, people are crave for comedy. They would go to the movies if it is a comedy. If it is not a comedy, then they stay home and they watch drama on TV. So
Definitely. I think I mean, given the circumstances of the Arab world today, and the many social issues that we have, of course the social dramas have its significance. However, in my opinion, I think the shift into comedy, and yet I think comedy is hard, because I think you need to still implement the message. You still need to implement somewhat of a social, if it's going to be social, if it's going to be, moral into it. But in my opinion, definitely, I think comedy is important nowadays, especially for the mainstream audience, or even, jury members who keep watching dramas to get a lighthearted mood. But yeah, definitely, yes, this was my first film. But I'm here now in the United States doing my master's at Emerson College in Boston, Massachusetts. And so I'm hoping, because this is where I grew up, so I'm hoping to tell more stories based here about, being an Arab and a Muslim in the United States.
yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll have plenty of ideas to explore, and hopefully comedy type of ideas, that
A
can,
lot, yes, a lot of
Mm. You used where was it shot? In Egypt, I suppose, the movie, or was it shot in Qatar?
So this was shot in Qatar. We decided to rent out an apartment for a few months, and we had lovely production designers, Farah Goma and Sagek Kabesh, who did a great job in terms of, transforming basically something from ground zero into painting the walls, getting the furniture, resourcing. And because this was so large budget, it was a student-run film, we had to resource a lot from parents and different
Yeah.
but
But I mean, the apartment was not in bad shape. You made it in bad shape.
we did. Yes. Basically, yeah. We made it in bad shape. And then when I went to Egypt this in the summer before the shoot, I managed to just take a bunch of pictures of, like my grandma's house, my friend's house, like all these old 90s, 80s houses, because this is what I kind of envisioned for the house to look like. And so when I took all these pictures and I used them as references, we used that as references, and then we got the product.
Yeah, you got there a radio that is from the 40s, or I don't know.
Yeah,
Still working, That's interesting. We have, in my mother's house, we have a piece like that, but it's not working anymore. So,
yeah.
so
I don't know if it was actually working. I'm not sure. I think because we use post for sound for the music.
no, but I mean, in the movie, you made it work. I mean,
Of course,
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
and we do have this image of these very apartments in Egypt, very old apartments who are now kind of outdated because they're from maybe the 30s, 40s, and people live there, but they're not very modern. At the same time, they're not really traditional houses, so, and that's interesting to use that, because most Arab people have in their the back of their head this type of sets for Egyptian movies, and we find these elements, and it's very easily we can say, okay, this is an Egyptian movie when you see this kind of decors, and yeah, that was a nice way to portray also, tell this story, through all these accessories, yeah, all these. It was interesting to play with all these things.
Thank you.
Uh, I meant to ask you also. You choose comedy because you feel it's lighthearted, yes, but at the same time you said we can express messages, interesting messages through comedy. So how do you marry these two things? I mean, how do you what's the reasoning behind it? Sending a lighthearted message, yet making sure that it is a message that is worthwhile sending. It is a what what's your idea about it?
I don't think it has to be lighthearted. I think it could be very heavy. I think it could be very real. I think you could still send messages that are extremely, important, or, even explore, and not necessarily a message, but you can even like ask a question. But I think what is interesting about comedy is that it keeps the audience engaged, and it makes them laugh either with the protagonist or at what the protagonist is going through. And as a kid, I suffered through a lot. So I like to use, the emotions that I've been through, and the components that I go through, that could be very real and very hard and heavy hearted, but then translate that in a comedic way, because that gives me it gives me solace in life. It gives me, like, it calms me down. But I'm very inspired, by all these kind of dark comedy, or you could say absurd comedy, like Yorgos Lanthimos, or Roy Anderson. Even in Egypt, we have Omar Zuhairi. I think he's very good. So I think like these type of films are quite interesting, because it can show you that it could be very funny, but at the same time, what the protagonists are going through are not funny at all. They're actually suffering, and they're going through a very deep state of turmoil. But the way you shift it with the atmosphere, and cinema, it can do beautiful things that no other medium can do.
Yeah. I agree with you. You also portrayed this young man as modern, in a sense where his wife is working, but he's not. He so he's is this the new status of men in the Arab world, where we see the rise of the women? And is this something you meant to express also? And then she's at work, he can find a job. His father-in-law looks down at him, because he feels like he's given his daughter to an unworthy man. And what is your take on the youth, the Arab youth, and or in Egyptian youth, let's say, if
For sure, I think that's a great question. Yeah, I mean, I think again it comes back to this generational gap. I mean, is suffering because he thinks, it is told to him by society, by his father-in-law, who represents this higher class, older Egyptian society, that he should be working to provide for the family, when in reality his wife is already doing that. But he feels the need to, because society is telling him, because his own instinct is telling him, and that's why this all starts in the first place, right? And yes, definitely, I think there is a shift. I know a lot of my family members, a lot of my friends, that you know a lot of them are stay-at-home dads, but it's a quiet topic. It is not talked upon. Or if it is at least something that is a bit open, we know, it is publicly stated that that person, or the man, is basically trying to look for a job, and that he's struggling, but in reality the reliance is on the woman, which in my opinion is not a problem at all. But I think this shift is something that I'm also exploring with my next short, and it's something quite interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it does let people ask themselves this question, and it's very it's so comedy can be also a source of truth. I mean, looking at truth as it is, although it may be painful and we don't want to talk about it, yet we can feel it, and forces us to look at truth straight in the eyes. Tell me about your projects. Now you already telling me that you have a new short in the pipe. Are you writing, or what stage is it?
Yeah, at the moment I'm still kind of in development. I'm working my way to find a producer. It's called Holy Feet. I got into DFI's Qumra with it, and I've been doing workshops with it. I don't know. Do you know Doha Film Institute? Have you heard?
Doha Film Institute, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
They have something every year where they do like workshop called Qumra, and they bring in
Okay.
amount of people, and I was thankfully granted into that. I don't want to tell this the any
yeah don't we don't want you to spoil it for us. Yeah,
but hopefully once it's done I can send it over.
Well, if is it going to be a comedy?
This is a dark absurd but comedy. Yes.
Okay,
it's
great.
Of a bit mature, not really as slapstick, but it is comedy still, in terms of its idea of culture clash, and this idea of also a struggle of faith. All these things are explored, and then I'm also doing a smaller one this summer, which I can also send to you guys along.
We'll be hopefully, I hope you will think of us when you want to send to the festival your new work, because we are trying to find young directors who master the art of comedy, and who will at least go doing maybe other genres, but introducing comedy as also one of the components of their creative work, because we feel comedy has great potential, but is underrated in many festivals, and we need to polish it.
Sure, it is underrated. I can agree.
yeah, exactly. And so you're now in a student life. Let's say you're gonna be for a year or two in a master's program before you head to real the professional world.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. So yeah, I have a year and a half left, or 2 years, and hopefully by that time I'll be shooting my thesis, which will be the title that I told you, Holy Feet.
Okay.
And yeah, once I'm done with that, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, hopefully only good things. A good start. Congratulations. And maybe we can wrap up with the time is almost up. So the best luck to your film in our festival, and the best luck to you in your new endeavor, and in your future projects, and let's stay in touch through the good work. Thank you again. Thank you very much.